Hi folks, welcome back to my channel. Sorry I haven't been able to put out a whole lot of videos lately, but I've been dealing with a lot of personal stuff. And while I haven't been able to spend a lot of time working on my shop, making videos for y'all, I was able to do a couple of collaboration projects. So let me show you what I was up to. On this first project, the receptionist at work wanted to make a lamp for her granddaughter, and she does needle felting and wanted to make toadstools with frogs on a log. And she asked me initially if I had a birch log, but I didn't. So I did tell her I have a cherry log. I cut it up for her, polished up the bark, and super glued the bark to the wood to make sure it stayed, and gave it to her. And then obviously you can see what she came up with from there. She also entered it into the state fair and got first place for needle felting, and she got considered for a grand prize in home art, but she wasn't sure she would actually get the grand prize simply because 4 years ago she won grand prize, and because of COVID she didn't know if that would make it only 3 years because she could only win every 5 years. But you can find her on Facebook on the page Made by You, and you can see that she does fantastic work and she's very talented. Next up, her husband has a stained glass window he got from like a Habitat for Humanity store that he wanted to display in his house, but he wanted a frame made for it so he could hang it with lights behind it. And he asked me to make the frame for him. And he didn't want the frame to be big or gaudy. He just wanted a subtle black frame so that he could focus more on the light coming through the window. So he asked me to make it for him, and I decided to burn or shosugiban the wood so that it gave the blackness to it without dyeing it or painting it. I wanted the grain of the wood to still show. You'll also see that I sprayed the wood with polyurethane afterwards so that the char would not come off. There's a little groove on the inside of the boards that I routed out so that he could use that as the channel in which to put the stained glass. I gave it to him and he cut the corners, mitered them, and put the brackets on, hung it all himself, and I think it turned out really well. What do you think? Leave your comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Speaking of content, the next project I work on was back to Marion. She had an old painting that her aunt did a long time ago. She hasn't had a really good way to hang it, and so she asked me to make a frame for her. I had some scrap walnuts, so I decided to glue those up, and I made a relief so that the 1/8 of an inch thick canvas that the painting was painted on could fit in there. I also made some custom tabs that twist to hold the painting in but keep it recessed within the frame so that you can have it flush against the wall. I also put some Paduk splines in the corners, and I think it turned out really well. The color of the walnut really matches the painting well. Alright, next up, my coworker Stephanie saw this idea on Pinterest where you get 2x4 Christmas trees. So I got my hands on some free scrap 2x6s from work. Took it home, milled it up, got it all cut up to the right sizes and angles put in there, drilled some holes. I got those pieces back to her, and she stained them and gave them back to me so I could screw them flat and straight and in the right position, because the trees nest one within the other. Made a total of 15 trees. 5 of them were 3 foot, which nestle into a 4-foot tree, which then nestle into the 5-foot tree. And then I gave the trees back to her so she could put some lights in them. I think they turned out well. She kept 2 sets for herself, gave a set to her sister. We sold another set to the owner of the company and put a set in the lobby. I think they turned out really well, but you let me know what you think.